Nice. Sorry, Clyde. All right, don't know where those went. Yes, Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the pretty nice hills of Tennessee today. Yes, the home of Aretha Franklin, Tennessee. Yeah, man, a lot of cool people started out in this state, or they started out somewhere else and they quickly got to the right place, Tennessee. Yeah, to finish out their lives. I'm sort of in that boat, I guess. So actually, a lot of it is, well, it's for careers. Well, you know, who knows how many people have come to Tennessee to take a job, right? Just like a lot of states. And who knows? And of course, a lot of those jobs are in the music business because of Tennessee. You know, even Elvis came here, you know, Memphis to record and work and all that. And then an unbelievable number, obviously, of people who wanted to pursue a music career, especially country music, but not just that. And so, in recent years, a lot of people escaping the highly taxed states, the highly restrictive states, right? We have states in this country that are losing net residents, right? On a net basis, they're losing residents. And we have some others like Tennessee, Florida, Texas, and there are others that are having a net gain, right? I'm not sure it's always a gain, you know. We don't want to fill up either. But anyway, here we are, and I'm glad you're here, because you can be here today without living here, without being a resident, through the magic, right, of cameras. This is something Davy Crockett could not do. Just think, wouldn't it be cool if we had videos of Davy Crockett, you know, out behind his log house, just practicing, you know, with the old Betsy, his flintlock, you know, explaining how he loaded it and what he did to make it more accurate, or whatever, what kind of patching material he used, what loads he liked, and see him shooting and missing occasionally and hitting you know, mostly, or whatever. Would that be wild? Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone, seeing people like that? Yeah. So anyway, I don't think, well, the only limitation back then was they just didn't have videotapes. Yeah. The internet was in its earliest stages and all that. So what do I have? Oh no, it looks like another Colt of some kind. Yeah, well, it is. It's the Colt Kodiak. Yes, Colt Kodiak. I don't know if you can see it. It even has a bear paw. I don't know if that'll focus on the barrel. It has a bear paw right after Kodiak. Yes, and probably can't see that. I think John shows it in the video we did. Get the light just right on. I don't know, but there's a cool bear paw there. And I don't know what a bear paw has to do with Kodiak, but you all can probably figure that out. So yeah, it's ported, you notice. And it has a 4 1/4 inch barrel. And it has an unfluted cylinder. Other than that, what is it? Well, it's an Anaconda, right? So it's kind of one of the variations of the newer 2021 Anacondas in a, I guess what would you call it? Not an anti-bear package, maybe a bear defensive package, that sort of thing. Again, not many people, if anybody, goes hunting brown bears with a handgun. A handgun is a defensive piece. It's true for just in general. A handgun is a convenient piece you can carry to get you out of trouble. It's not your ideal. Why do soldiers go into battle with a rifle or a shotgun? knowing they're going into battle, or there's a likelihood they'll be in battle today or tomorrow or next week. Why do they always carry a rifle or a shotgun sometimes, but mostly rifles? Yeah, because they're going through the trouble, you know. Whereas if you're in bear country just fishing, you're not there hunting, you're fishing. Or you might be hunting, I don't know, antelope, some other animal. So you might have a rifle, but you don't always have it on you every second at camp and all that kind of thing. I'll say, so it's a defensive piece to have with you. 44, you know, this would not be a bad package. That's one of the things that came to mind. And when I requested it, I want to do all the new Colts. I love these new Colt revolvers, the Kodiak, there's the Grizzly, there's Viper, you know, they've you know, Colts really come back, right, on the revolver front. And they're nice. But I thought, well, okay, you know, so basically it's a 4 3/4 inch Anaconda. Nothing new under the sun there, really, but you know, it'd be fun. I'll shoot it. Another excuse to shoot a nice Colt revolver and all that. But it is pretty cool. I like that barrel length, and it feels good. It's got a nice balance. The porting doesn't bother me if it's. I don't get crazy over porting one way or the other, but it really, after shooting it some, and you're going to, yeah, this would be a nice anti-Kodiak, or this would be a nice bear defense pistol to carry with you. You know, 4 1/4, not a bad length. It's a nice chunk. The cylinder has maybe a little extra weight, maybe a little extra strength where it's not fluted, not enough to write home about maybe, but that's a nice little package. Good balance, so it feels pretty good. And I will shoot it some more. That was some Underwood you saw going through there. Those were, what were those? Yeah, those are 245 grain bullets at 1,450 feet per second. They're trucking. Those are Magnums. What did I bring here? Yeah, 44 Steinel, 240 grain. I shoot a couple of those. Okay. And I'm glad you're here. You know, 247. Made it through 247 of these things on a Sunday. And some people still actually watch them. Yeah, appreciate that. And just enough that I am going back. Like I said last week, I'm fixing them so they all won't be taken down. And I'm down into the I'm going backwards. I'm around 90, number 90, something like that. So yeah, maybe in a week. By next time I talk to you, maybe I'll be down to 0, all of them. They'll be there. Get back and watch them. Right, and as I have to go through them and find the URLs I'm shouting out, well, that's the big problem, okay? I've seen comments occasionally saying, well, how come so-and-so doesn't have a problem, or other YouTubers aren't having as big a problem as you are, and losing videos and that kind of thing. You know, we lost 12 that were taken down, you know, and there would be more, and there might still be more, although I have gone back to keep it from being a ton of them. And I hope, and the answer is, we've been really fortunate to have sponsors, not gun companies ever. You know, ironically, we don't have any gun companies as sponsors intentionally. You know, just as we see that as a conflict, you know, of interest in a major way. But people who sell guns or restricted items, regulated, controlled items, you know, like suppressors and just different things like that. Not marijuana, not drugs. And, you know, the YouTube rules on that, and giving URLs, you know, the web address and that kind of, it's become a serious issue with YouTube, okay? And of course, all the videos are filled with that, you know, just like, duh, who knew? And anyway, so that's what it is, and I'm working my way back through those, and I forgot what my point was, but yeah, anyway, as I do that, and I try to find them, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but I am, even the Sunday videos they're basically like the talks channel, you know, all the topics I talk about. Some of them are kind of dumb and boring, right? But I'm shooting some interesting firearm. All firearms are interesting, so they're pretty evergreen too. You know, if you're bored someday, go back and look at some of those. It's been an interesting travel back into history on all these videos, and those two, seeing like 3 years ago what I was talking about, what was going on at the time, what firearms I had just gotten in, you know, and it's funny. A firearm that I've just gotten in, was trying it out like this, and since then I've decided I don't like it, or I liked it a lot. We've done videos with it, and I bought one. I liked it so much. You know, it's kind of interesting to see the history that I lived. Yeah. And speaking of that, and these firearms like this that I get to try out, we really appreciate Bud's gun shop, because they're the reason you get to try out so many new guns. Great supporter. Silencer Central, another wonderful sponsor, and the reason we have other things that we can show and all that sort of thing. So they do one thing really well, don't they? And then the Sonoran Desert Institute, get yourself some more training or education, trying to say, about firearms. It could lead you into a career. It really could. A lot of people are not even trying to get into gunsmithing. They just want to learn more about some aspect of the firearms industry. So try them out, check them out. And then I'm going to take some more shots with this. What do I have in here? Steinel. Let's see if they will go through paper. Wow, that was loud. That was extra loud. Did I miss the bore? Yeah, I got him. Hit him hard. That pig is gone. I think I have another one left. That might have hit the gong. I've not, we've shot it a fair amount. I didn't adjust the sights. They seem pretty close, so I didn't mess with them. This goes back, but pretty nice piece. I know what it is. Yeah, the porting. Yeah, that's why that was extra loud. The porting. Yeah, little tip. If you someone hands you a firearm at the range to try out or whatever you got, if you got a break on it, or it's ported, get ready for more blast, more noise, okay? One reason I don't care for it, generally speaking, it doesn't make enough difference to make a difference for sure. That sounds like Paul Harrell, doesn't it? You know, in the real world, now, if you're in a USPSA match, your 3-gun match, whatever, some competition, you know, because there's a drive amongst the firearms manufacturers and accessory makers, and you know, everybody wants to get their gun to the point, their rifle, their carbine, or their handgun, to where it's ideally it's like shooting a .22 long rifle. You know, I mean, it's been that way back when I was doing that in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, in the open class, almost everybody had a compensator on the front of their semi-automatic pistol to reduce muzzle flip. And that's one reason the .38 Super was so popular, and still is, I guess, where you shoot light, heavy, or light, fast bullets to take advantage of that compensator. It blows, it's, you know, it's basically porting, a separate piece on it, but it's porting. And it helps, you know, the porting goes up and out or whatever, and it holds the muzzle down, and you've got a pretty powerful round to make major caliber, you know, but boom, 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 but the actual recoil, it's a little bit of a paradox. It's just loud and a lot of blasts and all that. But as far as the actual firearm, it's not moving that much, even though you're shooting a powerful round. You know, and so you can boom, 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 double tap, and you can shoot, you know, fast. So in those cases, then the porting and all that's great, reduces that muzzle flip. But, you know, generally speaking, some of you hunters might disagree, but you're hunting or you're just out shooting, target practice, you know, it's the muzzle is going to come back down on the target in plenty of time for your next shot. I mean, generally speaking, okay. Yeah, it helps a little bit maybe, but I don't think it matters a lot in the practical real world. Got another firearm, maybe I'll bring it out next week. Some of you might be familiar with JP5 If you are, tell me about it, what you think of it. Pistol caliber carbine, and it's got a kind of a break on it, yeah, again, because it's using competition so much, and so you want to be able to. It's got a great trigger, boom, 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 boom. Be able to fire it, and that muzzle hardly move. So you're essentially just like a .22 long rifle. That's what you're trying to sort of to achieve, manner of speaking. So also appreciate Alabama Holster, and you know what that reminds me of? Speaking of Alabama Holster, they make great little Kydex concealment holsters. So I'm going to slow motionly reach into my pocket and pull this out. Yes, that came out of my Alabama holster. I thought I ought to take a couple of shots. I hadn't taken any shots with my Kimber lately. Yeah, what you're carrying, you need to shoot. You need to shoot occasionally, right? And yeah, wanted to do that right out of the holster. So that's still a nice carry firearm. It really is. That or the 642. In a lot of ways, I kind of prefer the 642 for size and the grip and everything. It's really a minimalist thing with the boot grip. This one's a little bigger grip, but it still rides okay in my pocket. And it holds 6 rounds. So I carry both. It just depends, but they're same thing, pull and shoot. And I'm going to reload it in case I decide to pull and shoot again. Right? Can I do that? Yeah. That's this. What am I putting in? Is some Steinel 38 Special. This is 38. This is the Kimber. What's the model number? K6xs, right? Yeah, and it's a lightweight version of the K6, and it is rated for plus P. And when you get down to it, I mean, you can go back, FBI, DEA, all these different agencies. Most of the time, when they were carrying, or if they're still carrying for backup or whatever, but when they used to carry revolvers, I think most of them carried 38 Special plus P. It's just so much more controllable and powerful enough. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. I feel fine with it. I'm perfectly happy with plus P. All right, now if you're in bear country again or something like that, hunting, or you're in bear country and you're carrying a revolver, maybe a longer one, 4-inch barrel or something, and for bear protection, people actually carry a 357 for that too, because you can get the same basic penetration with the right bullet and all that, and that's a little different. You might want a really warm, heavy bullet, in your cartridge, and for a 357 for that purpose. But for a defensive purpose, yeah, I'm good with 38 plus P. And I'm going to put 6 more in it just in case. I like the fact it holds 6. I did my math. I got my calculator out, and I figured out that 6 is quite a bit more than 5. Isn't it? Well, in a way, it's not really a joke. Think about it this way. Think like I think. Then you'll know you're in trouble. Well, if you hadn't thought about it, 1 round, it doesn't make that much difference, you would think. Well, it doesn't sometimes. If you have you're carrying a higher capacity polymer pistol, and it has a 15-round mag, and you load it down 1 to 14 or something, is that a big deal? Nah. If you load down your AR mag to 28, which is kind of a common practice, I think, but is that a big deal versus 30? Not really. Let's move on down. What if you have a 10-round mag, your P365 or something, and you download it to 11 or download it to 9? I'll get the math right. It's not too big a deal either. from 10 to 9, 9 versus 10. And of course, we could run percentages on this if I were smarter, couldn't we? And we could immediately figure out what the percentage was and how much percentage difference there is in each of these examples I'm coming up with, but I can't do the math. What if we get down to an 8-shot mag in something, and you decide to just put 7 in it instead of 8? Then you think, well, I'd kind of like to have 8. I guess 7's okay. You start thinking about it a little more, don't you? And then when you get down to a revolver that holds 6 or versus 5, then 5 versus 6 is a bigger difference, isn't it? You know, well, let's go all the way down to a Derringer. What if you have a Derringer you want to carry for defense, whatever, snakes or whatever, 2-shot Derringer, and somehow somebody comes up with a Derringer the same size, looks just like it, and it holds 3, has another barrel or something, you know, and you like it. Yeah, 3, 2 versus 3, pretty big deal. You know, think muzzle loaders, you know, or trapdoor Springfield. What if the trapdoor Springfield had 2 barrels, it'd fire twice? Pretty big deal. Single barrel shotgun versus a double barrel shotgun, another example. If you were limited to one of those to defend your home or whatever, and you got the same shotgun, same length barrel, everything's the same, whether it's hammer or not, external hammer or not, and you've got a single barrel shotgun and you've got a double barrel shotgun. Guess what? I can do the math on that one. You've got twice the capacity. That's a huge difference, isn't it? And if you had a 3rd barrel underneath there and you had 3, which we've seen one of those, right? We did, was it Chiappa, a 3-barreled shotgun, a coach gun, I think it was actually called. 3 is a lot more than a single barrel, isn't it? So it just depends on what you're starting with, isn't it? All that. So 5 versus 6. It's nice to have that extra round. Not essential, but kind of nice. You sleep a little better, maybe. Okay, so anyway, I've got it reloaded here. Jacketed plus P, and I'm ready for anything. That's the way I carry it. Okay, so it's always good to shoot. So what else is going on? I've been yakking a lot, haven't I? Well, let me remind you now. The other two channels are going great. Still see so many comments. You know, people, well, how come you didn't end this with life is good, or, you know, how come it's cut off right in the middle? You know, when they see a clips video, it's from the Hickok 45 clips channel, because they all just, so many people don't go to a channel, they just wait to eat what's fed them by YouTube, right? And so you see a video come up with me, here's the big dummy, you know, and he's sitting in a chair in the woods just talking. And so some people will see that, and what's that about? It could be a clip John pulled out, and I'm just sitting talking, an old shooting the breeze or whatever, or a piece from one of these or something. There's no introduction, there's no wrap-up, it's just a piece he's cut out of it, okay? That's your clue. Of course, it's from the Clips channel. Or you could even go to the Clips channel, called Hickok 45 Clips, and then see what's on there. Yeah, that's a novel idea, right? Or the Hickok 45 Talks channel, and same thing. So just be aware of that, and all those channels are going great, and John puts a lot of work in on that Clips channel, and I don't know how much work I put in on it, but I'm posting 2 or 3 of the talks a week, and I'm kind of enjoying that. And it's kind of like an old shooting the breeze, all this sort. The thing I like about it is I'm just focusing on one topic. Even if I ramble too much or I just go too long, whatever the case, I'm still on one topic. You know, the most recent one I think I posted was Second Amendment ignorance. You know, and I've done things over there on, and a lot of you are saying them on, you know, open carry versus concealed carry, you name it, and a lot of them are from your suggestions. So if you've got them, you know, share anything, because I cut and paste those ideas. I've got about 3 or 4 pages just of ideas that you all have given me, and I just look through them when I'm in the mood to do a talks video. All right, so keep up aware of those at least. And so, what, can I shoot this again? You know what, maybe I have earned a kinder, more gentler experience. You know what that means, 44 special. Okay, that's what makes revolvers these so versatile. these big revolvers or even small ones. You're going to load them up pretty hot or download them. And of course, one of the big advantages of a revolver is you're not reliant on the slide spring, the mainspring, or anything like that, magazine springs. I could load in this revolver, if you haven't thought of that. If you hate revolvers, you can't imagine why somebody would ever carry a revolver. There are a lot of advantages to a revolver. A lot of them. I mean, basically, your only two limitations, which are not necessarily even limitations, are capacity and reloadability, quick to reload. Okay, slow to reload, right? Neither one of those is really 99.99% of the time an issue for a civilian, at least, right? It just isn't. And so then you're left with all the advantages of a revolver. You know, you're not relying on those springs and ammo being just right, or a hang up and this kind of all that sort of thing. Although revolvers can have trouble. It's just that they don't normally have trouble. If they do, it's usually after they're dirty, you've been shooting them a fair amount. You get powder under the star extractor or some things like that, then requires a toothbrush and cleaning it up and all that kind of thing. But as far as the first 6 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, probably the first 12 or 18 rounds, whatever, you're just not going to have anything go wrong probably, unless there was already some problem, which you should have known about, right? All right, enough revolver talk. Let's put a special out there on Mr. Gong. I'm not sure about the elevation on this thing. That might have gone high. Yeah, must have. Okay. And I always like to put specials on Clyde. He likes 44 special. He gets a lot of 44 special. I think he figures anytime he's getting hit with a slower bullet, that's just one more time he doesn't get hit with a fast bullet. Cowboy likes it too. Yeah. Pretty nice. Nice all around size, I'll have to say. So this is called, again, the Colt Kodiak. Colt Kodiak. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Do I have any advice for kids, for young people, before you get out of here? I made a note. What was I going to pontificate about? Try to appreciate where you are. Even if you're a dumb kid, you're 12 years old, you're 9 years old, or you're 16 years old. Don't always be looking for the next period of time when things will be better. You know, that's natural, right? We all do that too much. Looking towards the next big thing, because I'm not really happy now. Things just are not great. I bet it's going to get better when I get into high school, when I get to be 16, or when I get my license, or when I get to college, or when I get out of school, or when I get a job, when I get married, when I whatever it is. Life is kind of the same. It's really what you make of it. It really is. Whatever age you are, whatever's going on, try to make the best of it. And I don't mean that in the sense, oh, I know life is terrible, but try to bear up and survive it. No, life always has challenges. No matter what age you are, what period of time you're in, there's all these advantages to that, and there's some disadvantages. Just every age you can name, and it all basically equals out. You know, it just really does, especially if you're in decent health. Now, if you're in bad health, well, same deal. If you're in bad health at 20 or 40 or 80 or 15, that's not fun, right? But it's just the same. If you're not careful, you end up looking forward to the future so much that you don't really live in the present, and you miss it. You miss out on everything. You know, you're never really there. You know, you're always thinking about the next place or whatever it might be. So try to appreciate where you are, no matter where you might be at the present time, and make it work wherever you are. Take advantage of wherever you are. Take advantage of the fact that you're, I don't know, you're in middle school, you're in high school, or you're 22 or whatever, and you feel like there's just so much you're missing out on because of your age or where you are within the company you're working in, or whatever it might be. Take advantage of that, of maybe not having as much responsibility right now, or you know, working towards the future and getting smarter, picking up on education or whatever that might be. Probably a lot of advantages to being wherever you are, and a few disadvantages, yeah, just like any other age. So how profound was that? I don't know. So what do you want me to shoot next? Can I shoot my pocket revolver again? What if I'm just out here wandering around and there's a bad guy starts pulling his Uzi out on me? Maybe my little revolver would save me, right? Click. So, and those are plus P rounds, jacketed rounds. Yeah, don't discount a revolver. They've been called a professional's gun, an expert's gun, and that seems like paradoxical in some ways, you know, counterintuitive. Well, that's stupid. Revolvers are a simple thing. That's what people buy when they don't know much about guns. Or, well, they may do that, and there's some advantages to that too. But in terms of working the trigger and being able to shoot it well, they are better for somebody who has experience shooting, and which could be you, where you can handle that double action and keep it on target. Because ideally you want to be shooting double action defensively. So you want to, if your finger, you just never shot a revolver, everything's been a nice light trigger and some semi-automatic pistol, then, you know, revolvers are kind of weird. You're pulling yourself off target, you got to pull through that long double action. That's not a problem with a little practice at all. And it makes the gun a lot safer. It makes the gun, well, the gun is a lot safer because of that pull, and they're just wonderful. They're wonderful. Okay. And I'm not selling Kimber. I don't know what's the best. I like the airweights, and I like this and the 642, as you know. And there's other. Gosh, there's so many models Smith makes. I can't keep up with them. I really can't. There must how many they have on their page, a J-frame page now at their website, like about 30 or 40 different models probably. So what do we want to shoot out of this thing next? Well, let's just shoot some more Underwood. Again, we miss Paul Harrell, right? We don't want to ever forget him. Great guy, great work, still there on the internet. So it's one of the disadvantages of being alive to having been given life, right? That this piece of brass doesn't have to think about, or this piece of plastic doesn't have to think about. The fact that we're alive, that's the positive, right? But the downside is anything that's alive ain't always gonna be alive, you know. So it's makes life tough at times, losing people that have been alive, right? When we lose ourselves, yeah, well, nobody knows for sure, but I mean, it's a little bit different, right? But when we lose someone else, you know, it's a big loss that we experience, whatever it is, whether it's just virtually or it's someone who was around the house, or in your class at school, whatever it might be, you know. So it's a big gap that has appeared in your life's experiences, and that's the thing about that, huh? So obviously I have nothing profound to say about that, but it's just, but anyway, just acknowledging that we all will miss Paul Harrell for a long, long, long time. So wish the best for his family and everything. So I've got this loaded with some more Underwood rounds. Let's just fire them. Paul liked revolvers, didn't he? Had a bunch of them. Woo! Those ears in tight. Hog hunting time. Okay, bowling pin. I think I missed you with something else here, didn't I? There we go. Bear down on him. Yeah, causing almost a little flinch there. That is one of the negatives of a ported gun. It's just louder, and unless you're gaining some benefit from it, I just don't recommend it. I really don't. If I could call up Colt tomorrow and have them make me a configuration of the Anaconda, because I'm going into Kodiak country, it might be the same gun but without the porting. Maybe with a fluted cylinder too. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that. I think it's fine. It's fine. And obviously, if you got a bear comes up on you, you're not gonna worry about your eardrums being broken. I guess, as long as you keep your body from being broken and eaten right. But again, porting, I don't know. I think it's overrated. I just do. So that's just my opinion. Also, get your sight dirty. Look at that orange sight. Yeah. Of course, again, for 6 shots, it doesn't matter. The first shots, you know, it's like I was talking about with your carry gun, defensive. Oh, that's what this would be, I guess. But first 6 shots are going to be pretty reliable if you got good ammo. Yeah, it's just a revolver. It's just going to work. It's going to work. But if you have a problem with revolver, it's usually, often it's worse than a semi-automatic. No doubt about it. It's going to require, you know, go run and hide and work on it, and then you might not get it fixed. But that doesn't happen, you know, very often. I've shot so many. I have so much experience with both. Okay, and the semi-autos are very reliable too these days, very reliable. Just that it depends on a lot of things to be reliable. One thing I've said myself in a revolver, take off that side plate. You think a revolver is so simple and more reliable, which is kind of true. But if you take the side plate off of a Colt or Smith & Wesson revolver and you look at that mechanism, woo, you wonder, wow, how does that thing work so reliably? You know, it does look like a watch in there or something. And but it's all enclosed and tight, and you know, it's just it tend not to have trouble with the actions very often, you know, with a revolver. And if you do, the problems I've had with revolvers were something that sort of started happening a little bit, like the trigger rebound spring or something. The trigger's not moving back like it used to, or the ejector rod. I don't know, that thing's kind of wanting to catch a little bit. You know, what do we got going on there? Is it loosened up or whatever? You know, or, things that don't just all of a sudden, you know, stop it from working. You know, okay, that's really, you know, pretty rare. So you'll make sure you got good ammo that doesn't jump the crimp. I've heard of that happening at the worst time, especially with really hot ammo in bear country. So you want to make certain that ammo is crimped tightly, because guess what? The more recoil you get from a revolver, the more likely that bullet is to jump the crimp, move forward a little bit, because you think of the physics of that, and this is your last lesson before you have to leave, but think about that. Let me get a longer one here. You got this bullet that's just squeezed into the case, right? And the bullet's a heavy part. So I don't have anything under the hammer here. This bullet's over here. But think about that. You know enough about centrifugal force and all kinds of force. And, so when that thing comes back so quickly like that, you got this heavy bullet in the front, right? And it's not nailed to that brass. It's not riveted. It's just pushed in there, and the brass is kind of squeezed around it, right? So there's this force trying to move everything rearward very, very quickly. And what would be the tendency of that 250 grain piece of lead? The tendency for it is not to move with the rest of the gun, you know, but to stay where it is. In other words, come out of that case. That has happened. If it comes out a little bit and it's protruding just a little bit in front of that chamber, then when you guess what's going to happen, I'll take that out. But you got a situation, there's no way I can demonstrate that, and that'll have a stick or something I want to put in there, but it's protruding. Well, I got a pen over here somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, illustrate that. Yeah. So you got that bullet that is protruding even just a little bit, right? It wouldn't take anything at all. And of course I can't close it with that in there, but it's just not going to turn. It's going to keep that cylinder from turning, and it's locked up, tighter than a drum. That happened with one of those bear encounters. It was with a Ruger Alaskan, I believe it was. This happened years ago. I've heard the story, read about it several times. He had like one of those, I used to have one of those, a 3 or 4 inch. Mine was a 44 though. I think his was a 454 Ruger Alaskan. Fairly short barrel, and the bear came after him. He was walking his dog, I believe, and it came up from behind him, as they do quite often, and he pulled that thing out, and he shot like a couple of times or 3 or whatever, and it just about got to him. He got one right in the nose or something of the bear, and the next one locked up on him. So that happened. The bullet jumped, one of the bullets jumped the crimp. And so I'm not sure he even realized it at the time, but one of them hit it and he was out of time. It was there, like fell or went right at his feet. I mean, it just about got him. But I think he just hit it with that last round that he shot. And either he knew it or didn't, or couldn't get it to turn or whatever. But it had jumped the crimp and locked up. That was going to be his last shot. And he had another bullet or two, I don't know. But he wasn't going to be able to use them, you know, if Mr. Bear had not been hit on one of those. So anyway, be careful of that, especially if you're walking around Tennessee or Kentucky, you know, New York City. Watch out for Grizz, Mr. Grizz. Be sure you got your bullets crimped really hard. And companies that make that kind of ammo do a pretty good job of that. I think they make sure that bullet's really crimped in there tight, because that. You can have the best gun. You've gone to all the trouble of selecting the best firearm to have, you know, on your person. You're fishing in Alaska or somewhere, and the best ammo. You've studied it. You got the bullet weight, the type of bullet, and the power factor, and all that. You know, you've done your research. You've read what other people have written about that, and the stories and everything, incidents. You know. But if one of those bullets jumps the crimp, all that's out the window, you know. Of course, if you hit with your first shot, maybe in the right place, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to have any crimp jumping until when? Till the gun is fired. So the first round should be okay. So I'll give you my address so you can send me a check for all that information I just shared with you, okay? I'll invoice you, or you can just mail me a check for that. So I'm gonna let you go. It's been fun yakking at you and shooting. It's always great to have a different firearm, one I haven't fired before. Although I have fired a 44 Magnum a couple of times, just not this one. Yeah. So another variation of the Colt, pretty cool. And I feel good about my carry revolver. So I'm ready to launch into another week. I will talk to you all next week. So be sure you come back out here now. There's not quite as many ticks now, and the weather's getting a little bit better. So I expect to see you every Sunday. Yeah, these things are numbered. If you miss one, you should know it. Life is good.